Hi, this is Rachel Israel with STEM News and Global World Report. We have breaking news that will have a huge impact on the global scene in the very near future. Let's take a look at what's going on around the world.
On April 5, 2025, America witnessed an unprecedented wave of protests. From bustling cities to rural towns, a unified cry echoed, "Hands off." This was not merely a protest, it was a resounding declaration of resistance against the policies of the Trump administration. Over 1,400 demonstrations erupted across all 50 states, painting a stark picture of nationwide discontent. The sheer scale of the protests was staggering. An estimated 600,000 people took to the streets, their voices a collective roar against the administration's actions. Washington, D.C. saw a sea of humanity converge on the National Mall, while thousands more rallied in cities like York, Pennsylvania, and at the Montana state capitol. The Bay Area emerged as a hotbed of resistance, with a particularly striking demonstration on San Francisco's Ocean Beach. The message from the American people was clear. They would not stand idly by as their rights and freedoms were eroded. This was not simply a moment of anger, it was a turning point, a day when citizens from all walks of life united to reclaim their democracy. The hands-off protests marked a pivotal moment in American history, a testament to the enduring power of the people's voice. The hands-off protests were not a spontaneous eruption of anger. They were the culmination of mounting frustrations over a series of controversial policies. At the heart of the discontent was the administration's aggressive gutting of federal agencies, leaving crucial public services depleted and vulnerable. The economic turmoil plaguing the nation, a direct consequence of these short-sighted policies, further fueled the flames of dissent. Adding to the outrage was the administration's blatant expansion of executive power, raising serious concerns about the erosion of democratic norms. The influence of billionaires like Elon Musk, whose leadership of the newly formed Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, resulted in massive federal job cuts and benefit reductions, drew sharp criticism. Protesters saw this as a blatant prioritization of corporate interests over the welfare of ordinary citizens. The administration's attack on social safety nets, including proposed cuts to Medicaid, Social Security, and other vital programs, proved to be a tipping point for many. These programs are lifelines for millions of Americans, and the prospect of their dismantling sparked widespread fear and anger. The hands-off protests were a resounding message to the administration. These programs are not bargaining chips. They are essential pillars of a just and equitable society. The hands-off protests were a powerful testament to the diversity of the American resistance. From seasoned activists to first-time protesters, people from all walks of life united to make their voices heard. Civil rights groups, labor unions, LGBTQ+ advocates, women's rights organizations, and veterans groups stood shoulder to shoulder, their collective presence underscoring the widespread opposition to the administration's agenda. Notable figures from the political arena added their voices to the chorus of dissent. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar eloquently emphasized the need for due process and compassion in the face of the administration's draconian policies. Congressman Maxwell Frost rallied the crowd, urging them to continue their activism through protests, donations to grassroots organizations, and engagement in the legislative process. Their words resonated deeply with the protesters, providing both validation and inspiration. Kelly Robinson, president of the Human Rights Campaign, delivered a blistering critique of the administration's treatment of marginalized communities, particularly transgender individuals. Her powerful words served as a reminder that the fight for equality and justice is far from over. The hands-off protests were not just about policy disagreements. They were about fundamental human rights and the very soul of America. The Trump administration's response to the nationwide hands-off protests was predictable in its defiance. Despite the overwhelming display of public disapproval, the White House remained steadfast in its defense of the president's policies. Press Secretary Liz Houston echoed the administration's talking points, downplaying the significance of the protests and dismissing the concerns of millions of Americans as unfounded. In a move that further inflamed tensions, the administration doubled down on its controversial agenda. federal spending cuts continued unabated, resulting in the layoff of thousands of government employees and crippling vital agencies like the Social Security Administration and USAID. The Department of Homeland Security, under the president's directive, ramped up its immigration crackdown, carrying out raids and deportations with renewed fervor. The administration's intransigence in the face of such widespread opposition raised serious questions about its commitment to democratic principles. The hands-off protests, however, achieved something far more significant than eliciting a change of heart from the White House. They galvanized a nation, reminding Americans of their collective power and igniting a spirit of resistance that would continue to challenge the administration's overreach. The fight for the soul of America had begun.
Empathy or any sensitivity to what this nation is. You know, everybody's like, oh, you know, due process doesn't apply to people who aren't American citizens. That's absolutely not right. It applies to anyone who is on American soil. And if you don't have your day in court, if you don't have the right to defend yourself, then Trump can send anybody that he wants to El Salvador. It doesn't have to just be immigrants or people that he thinks are bad. It could be you or me.
I feel the pain here. People are scared, and I'm scared too.
I'm really devastated by what he's done with immigrants.
I want Medicaid. I honestly, and this is not being dramatic, I will die without it. I have thousands of dollars of medications and treatments every month that keep me alive. All these people here who are not happy with what is happening to our constitutional rights, and I hold our local Republican legislators accountable because they are not speaking up and standing up for our Constitution, which is why we elected them.
It breaks my heart. And I'm so old that I don't think I'm going to see the end of this. That's what scares me.
Donald Trump! Donald Trump! Donald Trump! Donald Trump! Donald Trump!
Join me as I hit the streets to see if I can join the protests and capture the energy of the Trump rallies happening all over America. Protests have erupted across the country, with thousands of people taking to the streets to express their opinions and frustrations. People are fed up with the current state of politics, feeling that their voices are not being heard. Political tensions have been building up for months, and recent events have sparked public outrage. The controversy surrounding Trump's policies has created a deep divide among Americans, with some strongly supporting him and others fiercely opposing him. The central issue is that many people feel Trump's policies are hurting the country, and they're demanding change. Whether it's the economy, healthcare, or social justice, many Americans believe that the current administration is not working in their best interests. This has led to widespread discontent and a sense of urgency among citizens who want to see real change. Protests are happening in cities big and small, from coast to coast. Protesters are marching, chanting, and holding signs that reflect their concerns and values. The demographic of participants is diverse, with people of all ages, backgrounds, and professions coming together to make their voices heard. Protesters in major cities like New York and Los Angeles are drawing attention to key issues like climate change and immigration reform. They're calling on the government to take action and to listen to the concerns of its citizens. In smaller cities, protests are focusing on local issues, such as economic development and access to health care. One of the most powerful moments from the protests was when a young woman stood on stage and shared her personal story of struggle and resilience. She spoke about the challenges she's faced as a minority and the importance of standing up for what you believe in. The crowd was deeply moved, and her message resonated with everyone in attendance. The emotions surrounding these protests are intense, with many people feeling a sense of desperation and frustration. However, there's also a sense of hope and solidarity, as people come together to support one another and to fight for a common cause. This movement is about more than just politics, it's about creating a better future for all Americans. The message of the protests is clear: people will no longer be silenced or ignored. They're demanding to be heard, and they're taking action to create change. This is a pivotal moment in American history, and the outcome is far from certain. In summary, the Trump protests erupting across America are a testament to the power of the people and the importance of standing up for what you believe in. The significance of these protests cannot be overstated, as they have the potential to shape the future of the country. Let's keep the conversation going. Share your thoughts on the protests in the comments below, and don't forget to check out my related video on political activism to learn more about how you can get involved and make a difference.
Well, that's the news for tonight. Thank you so much for continually supporting our content. If you did enjoy this video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe and turn on the notification bell, and share this with your friends and family. I'm sure they would find it interesting as well. We're very excited to continue this journey with you. We thank you all for bringing certain stories to our attention, and for continually keeping us updated with certain events around the world.